Hi there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. So I definitely meant to get a video up last weekend, but with how busy I've been and also Stitch North killing my voice, I did not get to do that. I was going to film last Thursday and my voice was still totally shot from screaming with my friends at Stitch North. And it didn't really fully recover until like Sunday. So I'm filming on May 14th. So this Flosstube will cover April 16th through today, May 14th. I'll be posting it on Saturday though. I've got lots of stuff to show you guys today. I have a lot of FFOs, or no, I have one FFO. I have a lot of FOs. I have some whips. I have some haul. I have just a mini recap of Stitch North. There's plenty of like better recaps out there, but just some highlights of my trip and things like that, and some other crafts and some plans. So if you are interested in all that, strap in. I do have timestamps down below if you don't care about a certain part or only care about a certain part. And then I also link all of the patterns that I am talking about in chronological order of when I mention them down in the description bar. So if you're interested in any of the patterns I show, there will be a link down there if it's available. So starting off, I have one shout out. I've almost fully worked my way through my entire Flosstube playlist. I was really behind, and then I was like, you know what I should do? Just delete all the older episodes and only watch the most recent one that somebody posted. Sorry, there was like 10 bajillion videos on there and I was like getting anxiety about it. So got it down, and I do have a shout out / recommendation for a channel, and that is Chinook Crafter. She was on Flosstube and kind of took a hiatus, and now she's back, so she restarted with like episode 1. I really like her. She seems really nice, and she stitches a really good variety of styles, but what I really like is she has a lot of really fun fabrics that she uses. When I buy really cool fabrics, I'm like, this is art in and of itself, and I can't use it, and I never know what to stitch on it, but she tends to stitch on her fun fabrics, and because she's located in Canada, she has access to a lot of Canadian brands that I don't necessarily know about or have access to because I refuse to pay tariffs and or duties on anything that I can avoid. And so really my only opportunity to buy those types of things are if I'm actually in Canada, which honestly, Canada's like 40 minutes away. I could just go. But anyways, so I've been getting inspired by seeing some of her projects on a lot of the really fun fabrics, and it's like pushing me almost there. I'm almost there. And I think I'm going to use some of my crazier fabrics. I have a few from Banana Oil that I've just been like clutching in my little fist and being like, I want to use this, but it's so pretty. I can't. So she's almost got me pushed over the edge there. So with that, let's go into my FFOs, which are fully finished objects. And I have technically 7, but I only have 1 with me because it was my table gift for all my friends at Stitch North. So I have a little video that I will pop in right now of me just showing off the table gift, and then I will show you mine. Okay, so I was packing for Stitch North and I realized I still hadn't filmed a clip of my table gift yet. Bringing 7, let's see how many friends I leave Stitch North with. I made these keychains. They're just like stuffed, and I sewed them together using like the Biscornu method there. And they do have like magnets in their mouth and like butt, so they all can stick together, you know, like in the movie. See? Look at that. And then I got these stickers from Black Waltz Stitching, if it'll focus. Get out of here. So this is the pattern that I adapted to make the keychains. This is her pattern, and I just used one of the outlines. I think it was, yeah, it was the front guy. I had bought this pattern, I wanted to stitch it, but then I was like, oh, I should do this. So everybody's getting a keychain and a sticker, and actually, there's one person at the table I don't know, but I made her one anyways because I was like, I don't know what to do in this situation. So she's either gonna never want to sit with me again, or I don't know. And I'm going to put them in these fun little rainbow bags so that I can lull everyone into a false sense of security before they open one of these. I'm most excited to see how Chandria and Amity react to these, because I know they're going to be horrified. So, yeah, I'm obsessed with these. So, this idea was like co-conspired between me and Tara from Willow Woman Crafts. I found this pattern from Black Welt Stitching, and I loved it. And then, I don't know who came up with the idea, but then it just kind of continually evolved. And so I made friendship keychains for all my friends. And also, there was somebody who was going to be sitting at our table that I've never met, didn't know. Her name's Rebecca. And I was like, do I make one for her? Is she like gonna be chill with the vibe of this? Or is it gonna be weird? But I just kind of bit the bullet and I did it. And as soon as I met her, I was like, okay, never mind. I was worried for nothing. She was like right in with the weirdness. So I took the original pattern from Black Welt Stitching, and I just took one part of it and I modified it a little bit. And then I just stitched it together kind of like the Biscornu style, where you just like do the, what's that called? Forgot. You guys know what I mean, right? That's going to drive me nuts. I don't remember. Anyways, this one's kind of understuffed. I accidentally went a little light with the stuffing. I can deal with it though. But then I just had this need for them to connect. And so I took some hemming tape and I took some tiny magnets, and right here and right here, I like hem taped the magnets in there, and they stick together. We have a whole video of us sticking them together, and everybody was dying. I wasn't really sure how people were going to react, but everybody at the table was laughing so hard. And then when people were coming around, it was funny. My table mates kept being like, look at this, look at this. And everyone who came around was like, oh, great. But I'm obsessed. And I just put these little keychains in as I was stitching around. I just stitched it in there. Very easy. And so now we all have friendship keychains. And I showed my dad. And I was like, they're friendship keychains. They're for all my besties. And he was like, they're going to remember this when they're talking about you on a documentary someday. And I was like, thanks, Dad. Probably. But I'm obsessed. I love this. Probably my magnum opus, if we're being real. And I hope that everyone loves it as much as me. I showed my husband while I was stitching them, and I was like, aren't they great? And he was like, there's something, Hillary. He was not impressed. So that leads me into the finished objects, and I have 5. Oh my God, who is she? So yeah, first of all, let's get the big one out of the way. Oh my freaking gosh, you guys, I finished Epic Pokemon Gen 1 by Lord Libidin. It's my blanket. It was honestly very anticlimactic. I like beasted out as much as I could on like Friday night one weekend, and then there was like 400 and some change left stitches. And so then Saturday I woke up and immediately was like, all right, let's do it. And then I put the last stitches in and I was like, now what do I do? I was like, oh, okay, it's done. Next. But yeah, this is 18 count white Ada from Kato. It was dirty when it came. I've said this a million times. I tried scrubbing it and scrubbing it, but I threw it into my bathtub and washed it and dried it, and here it is. It looks really, really good. The only like thing that I don't love about this pattern, but like too late, we're not doing anything about it, because it was 115,200 stitches and I'm ready to get that number out of my brain. But I love the pink Pokemon. So you can see up here, Mew. On camera, it doesn't look as bad, but it almost uses like a grayish brown for that lightest color. And then there was another one that I was stitching and I was like, ugh. Here it is. Jigglypuff. Like, it looks weird. But in the big old grand scheme, oh my god, you guys, I don't know what to do because it's going to cost me $14 billion to get framed. Here's the horrible back. By the end, I was like, let's just travel. Let's just go everywhere. I don't even care anymore. Actually, it looks like I kind of did that towards the top too. But this is the largest piece I have ever stitched. Oh, all those colors. I just can't. Let me see. Let me consult the notes here. It's all DMC. This was my final whip from 2023. So this is not only my oldest whip, it was my largest whip. And now everything that I have in my whips is from 2024 and forward. The current oldest project that I'm working on is Candy, which I'm currently working on. It's my medium project. That one's from April of 2024. Yeah, I'd love to do Gen 2, but I don't think I'm mentally ready to start Gen 2 because this one took a while. There was even like a year where I just didn't stitch on this at all because I was just like, but I found kind of my groove with full coverage. And since starting this, first I was stitching this in a frame in my hand. Like I was holding the frame with one hand and stitching with the other. And then I learned about like two-hand stitching and that helped a lot. And then I got the biggest Nerge hoop and that helped a lot. And I got my Lowry stand and that really just sealed the deal. So I got faster with this as I went, but it was a lot. So let's all look at it one final time. And then I will bring this to StitchCon to put on the brag table. And then I will start trying to figure out where I should get it framed. I'd really prefer someone who's like knows about like cross stitch framing or stuff like that. There was a shop that I stopped at in Ohio on the way to StitchCon last year, and they did some really cool framing. So I might stop in again on my way to StitchCon and just kind of chat with them about it, see if I can get a quote, see if I can find like frame pieces that I like and all that. Because I would love to do a blue frame for this, like a bright blue. Well, not bright, like a mid-tone. The blue of the cartridge, because I had Pokemon Blue version when I was growing up. And so I thought it would be really cool to put it in a blue frame. I even have the cartridge and I was like, maybe I could incorporate that into the frame below it. I don't know. I'll see what they say. So my next finish was, I think I finished this the day before I left for Stitch North. And this is Coffee and Eggs by the Artsy Housewife. I stitched this on a 36 count doubloon linen by Picture This Plus. And I used the DMC conversion because I didn't want to pay for all the fancy floss. I love her. And actually, I was like worried that, because like the first Artsy Housewife I did was Beach Rat. That one took me forever. Also, I did it 1/1 on linen, so of course it took me forever. But this one, Artsy Housewife designs are so beautiful, but they are so dense. And so I thought this was going to take forever. It's only like 10,000 stitches. And it's very color blocky, so it went so much faster than I had expected. I love the big old eggs. I like to imagine they're hard-boiled eggs, to be honest. And it was funny, I was watching Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe's video yesterday or 2 days ago, and she was working on this. And she had said that, you know, as she worked on it, she liked to imagine herself as the woman here. And it's funny because when I stitched it, I also imagined her as the woman. Is that weird? I don't know. It's the red lips because she's just got the iconic red lipstick. And so like every time I see anything with like bright red lips, I just am like, hey, that's Stephanie. But yeah, I really enjoyed stitching this. I like the wing of the chicken. When I first started stitching it, I was like, oh, those colors are kind of weird, but I really ended up liking it. Just really quick, really straightforward, easy, fun, color blocky. You could really outline, like I outlined a lot and then went back and filled it in later. So, and then I still have a good chunk of this linen left once I cut it. My next finish was a table start that we did at Stitch North. We did a lot of, it was a Goose themed kind of weekend. Not even on purpose, it just kind of happened. But we had the pattern, it was shared in the Facebook group, I guess. And I think Amity let us all know, but it's the Stitch North Goose by making things with string. And I did this on Bestitch Me 207. It's an even weave, and I think it's 32 or 36 count. I can't remember. I've referenced this a lot. For some reason I didn't write it in my notes. I decided to stitch mine 1/1 because I'm an idiot and I just love doing that. So I didn't stitch the words that were on the pattern. Oh wow, that is blown out. So you can see how itty bitty it is. But everybody finished theirs. So we all got like a picture of us together with our geese. And it's funny, he's got like just a little poop under his butt. And I showed my husband and I was like, look, it's so cute. And he was like, oh, I love it. And I was like, look, he pooped. And then he was like, well, that's rude. Why would you embarrass him like that? He was like fully offended for the goose. But I thought it would be cute to make a little keychain, kind of do, where'd my human centipede go? Kind of do the same kind of like finishing style with this sort of key. I have other keychains too, so maybe I'll use a different one. But it's just so, it's like the size of like a silver dollar. Like it's precious. It's just under 500 stitches. I think it was like 488 stitches or 422 stitches. I don't know, but I stitched it all in one go. Loved every second of it. I just love 1/1. Karen from Stitching Past My Bedtime has ruined my life because every time I see something, I'm like, could I stitch that 1/1? Should I stitch that 1/1? Because that's what she does, and it just looks so precious. And so these kinds of little designs are really fun to do that with. And do it on even weave, my friends. Trust me. 1/1 on linen, not a good time. Okay, so yesterday I had another finish, and this is Spaghetti Western by Ardith Designs. And I stitched this in the called for, it's all Gentle Arts? Yeah, Gentle Arts. And I stitched this on a 32 count Mater Sandwich linen, which is punchier than their model stitch. But I love this. So let me hold it back here. You guys can kind of see. So it's like a play on like Spaghetti Western, which is like a style of Western film, but it's like kind of like a Quaker adjacent type of design. You can kind of see it in coming together in those. And then it's just covered in pastas and animals, which we all love. So we got like the wagon wheel pastas, little bow ties up here, which I think bow tie pasta is delicious. I'm assuming these are like alphabet soup. We've got a random yeehaw in the corner, which I posted on Instagram, but I posted this on Instagram, but I was like, petition to bring this back into the vernacular. Yes, no. What else do we have? We have like a bunch of meatballs here on this like big old wagon. This one, these are both like spaghettis. These are supposed to be like macaroni noodles, I think. The colors are a little bit tone on tone, but the shapes kind of look like macaroni. The red that is called for is tomato, so it kind of blends a little bit into the fabric on camera, but I do think you can see it enough in real life. And then I sent a picture to Tara from Willow Woman Crafts, and she was like, I love those big old chonker bulls and horses. So, and I just, I liked about this design, I like that she made all of the people like varying races. We have somebody in a wheelchair. We've even got like some Asian noodles here. We got a fork and a spoon. And then the little chickens, there's really no reason to point this out other than I just wanted to say, I was like looking at the model stitch. The model stitch didn't put this particular, where is he? Right there. That little chicken right there. And so I was like looking at mine and then looking at the model stitch and then looking at the pattern itself. And I was like, what's going on? So yeah, if you're stitching this, just know that this chicken is on the pattern, but it wasn't stitched on the model. So yeah, I have a whole like other half of this. I mean, I'll frame this, but I don't know like what kind of frame I want. But it was really fun. It was, I think, just under 5,000 stitches. I have a paper pattern, so like I have to like manually count them all. But other thing, I did change the bottom. So on the pattern, it says for good friends, or sorry, for good food and social justice. And it just didn't work for me. Like, I love social justice, don't get me wrong. It just didn't feel like it suited the pattern the way I want to display it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. I just didn't like it. Sorry, I don't know. It just felt weird. So I changed it to good food for good food and good friends, and I just recharted it. And most of the letters that I needed were already in the pattern. The only one that I had to do was like, I think I had to make the N. But yeah, I think it's really, really cute. It was just a really fun, very whimsical design. Just taking spaghetti Western and taking it very literally. And I love that because I love Western cowboy stuff and I love pasta. Okay, and then the last finish that I have, I literally finished about 4 minutes before I turned the camera on because I was almost done. I had 100 stitches left and like 4 back stitches to do. And I was like, I'm not showing this with 100 stitches left. That's embarrassing, okay? So this was our second start at Stitch North. It's called Silly Goose. Why did I say it like that? Silly Goose by Twisted Willow Designs. This was from the winter 2025 issue of Just Cross Stitch. And I think Tara had suggested it as another table start. And so I got it from the library and recharted it in Stitch Fiddle just so that it would be easier. And I stitched this on 32 count lemon linen by Bestitch Me. This linen was a gift from Karen from Stitching Past My Bedtime. And I've been waiting for the perfect use for it because I love yellow. There's not enough good yellow fabrics out there. It's still in the hoop and everything, but isn't that cute? Like I said, we had a lot of Goose themed starts. I actually have one more Goose themed start in other crafts, but I'm pretty sure this is probably like a Taylor Swift reference, right? I don't know anything about Taylor Swift. I'm not doing the whole like, I'm not like other girls thing. I don't care if people like Taylor Swift or not. I like things that other people don't like. I still don't know anything about Taylor Swift. I just know that something about eras and she grew up on a Christmas tree farm and that's it. So I'm assuming it's probably referencing that, but I don't know. I just liked that it was a goose. Why do I keep saying it like that? A goose in cowboy boots. And it was so funny. So like, we all knew we were going to start this. We all brought stuff, kitted up, everything ready to go. And somehow every single one of us was on like our last strand of 3799, which is like the entire outline. So we're all just like fighting for our lives to get this started. And Chandria and Michaela, they both ended up, instead of outlining it in 3799, or well, I don't know if Michaela is going to do it, but I know Chandria had started to do this because they're using an overdyed for the lettering instead of following the pattern colors, which it looks so cool. And it didn't look right with the kind of charcoaly gray of 3799. So Chandria swapped white for the outline and it made it really pop. So I'm excited to see how hers looks finished. But the rest of us, man, it was rough going. And then I got home and I checked my Notion to be like, I'm sure I have more 3799. And I did, but it was like ancient 3799 because somebody at Rob, my husband's church, like Rob, comma, my husband's church, comma, no, I don't know. At my husband's church, my husband's name is Rob. That's what I'm trying to say. They gave him a bunch of cross-stitch supplies to give to me. So like I got some really old DMC, which is great, but like the die lots, change a little bit over time. And so the 3799 that I had used was like a brand new skein from like Michael's or Joann's. And then the one that I went to finish everything was the old one. And so it was much richer in color, darker. So when I first started stitching, I was like, oh, this is gonna be noticeable, but I don't know if I care. I don't think you can tell really unless I tell you. So from this O over and like all of this was done with the ancient skein of 3799, and then the G and O here and everything above was done with like the newer one. And I really don't think that you could see unless you were like doing one of those, like that close. And I don't think you would even notice unless I told you. So not worried about it. Clearly I'm not worried about it. I've just talked about it for like 40 minutes. Okay, we're done here. So I don't have any new starts because I saffed them both. I started and finished them, but my new starts were the two Goose themed patterns. My hands hurt from how much I've been stitching. So let's hop right into the whips. Where are they? Okay, we got them. I don't know how I grabbed everything but what I'm working on. So, haven't been working on a large project since I finished Pokemon because I've been traveling an excessive amount. Like we went to Stitch North. Well, I went to Stitch North. And then my husband and I, we went to my brother's graduation the next weekend. He graduated from grad school. This weekend, I'm going to Las Vegas. My in-laws live there. And then next weekend, thank God, I'll be going nowhere. Nope, I have a meeting. Never mind, I got too much going on. Anyways, so been traveling a lot. I decided to just not start my next big project until like I'm actually gonna be home. So probably last week of May is when I will move on to my next big project. But that leads me to my medium project, which if you guys don't know, I sorted my projects into large, medium, and small, and then I designated days and times where I work on my large, my medium, and my small projects, starting from the oldest one moving forward, till I get sick of that, and then we'll do something else. But my medium project is actually my current oldest project, which is Candy by Whittier Stitches. I'm stitching this on a 28 count Sapphire Even Weave by Fiber on a Whim. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, man, I wish I had chosen the linen because the linen is so much richer in color. This uses DMC, Krynic, and Mill Hill beads. And, okay, I don't know how much progress you're gonna see because my weekends have been all jacked up and I haven't gotten as much into this as I usually would. But here's the deal. Here's what it looked like last time. And I kept telling you guys, oh, I'm not gonna frog the dog. I'm not gonna frog the dog. I'm not going to frog it. It's fine. I'll fudge it. First of all, I frogged it because it was the worst mistake. Like it kept getting worse and worse and worse. Also, it's a cat. And Tara made sure to text me and let me know. I fear that's a cat, Hillary. And I was like, you know what? You're correct. I just thought it looked kind of like a wolf a little bit. And I had a big fluffy white Spitzen breed dog as a kid. And it just kind of looks like Zippy. So that was her name. She was the best dog ever. And I don't want another dog ever because no dog can be like Zippy. But here is where I have gotten to. So I did frog and then restitch the whole cat. I know it's a cat now. And then I put the back stitch in so that I could remember it is in fact a cat. And then I just kind of did a lot of like the blocky stitching at the bottom there of her dress. Next time I'm going to come up, I don't know what side I'm looking at, over here. And because there's a lot of spindly leaves and I just really hate stitching leaves. They are the bane of my existence for some reason, but I want them in there. So that will be the next part that I stitch. And I was working on it and Rob was like, you working on your shrimp lady again? And I was like, stop calling her that. He's like, but it looks like a shrimp. And I was like, you're kind of right. Maybe I need to put the beads in just to be like, it's not a shrimp, it's an arm. I'm like, I was like, do you think my arms look like big old shrimps? Because if so, we're going to have a problem. But yeah, it's really pretty. It's the only fancy lady that I have ever stitched. Probably the only fancy lady I will ever stitch because I'm not a big fancy lady person. I just think they're fine. But I stitched this one because it's the only plus size fancy lady I've ever seen. And I felt like as a big woman, as a big old girl, it was my duty and responsibility to stitch her. And then I also just have all this fabric that I haven't cut. Why? I don't know. Because every time I put it in a frame, I get pissed off and I'm like, oh, I gotta wrangle all this fabric. And then I repeat the process over and over and over again. Next is I started like a seasonal sal, which is Nature's Journey sal by Sprouting Lupine. I'm doing this on 36 count cold foam by Bestitch Me. This is the even weave version of it because I wanted like the lighter modeling. Usually I always prefer the saturation of linen to even weave, but I prefer the ease of even weave over linen. So it's really just, I can't win. It's catch-22. But in this case, I prefer the way that the even weave looks over the linen for like the first time ever. I was in Canada on Thursday. This is my Thursday stitch because I arbitrarily just decided I would stitch this once a week for the entire season and then do enough stitches each once weekly session to get me to the next season. So hopefully I'll finish spring by the end of spring and then I can start summer on summer and then fall and it'll be done by the end of winter. But yeah, I was in Canada. I drove up to Canada with Tara and it was the first time I'd seen my friends in forever. So I got like, 12 whole stitches or something into it. I didn't get much. But there's been a few other weeks in between, so maybe you guys will see a difference. But here is what it looks like at this point. I don't think I had like the whole nest in the last time you guys saw it, so I've made a little bit of progress. There's really not that much left. And today, I'm supposed to stitch on this. Oh my God, focus, bro. I'm supposed to stitch on this today, but I have so much to do. And so little time because I need to finish filming this and then I need to edit this because I have to pack and then I have to go to Las Vegas and I also need to paint my nails because I just feel like if somebody saw these in public, they'd be like, ew, she's unkempt. But if they're painted, they'll be like, wow, she's got her life together. If I can put a few stitches into this tonight, then I'll still be on track to finish in a reasonable amount of stitches weekly. If I can't get those stitches in tonight, well, guess I'm gonna add more stitches to the following weeks. What can you do? The next project I worked on was another one that I brought to Stitch North because I had watched the Hathaway Stitchers whip parade and Erin was working on the Cozy Cursed Quaker by the Cozy DH. And she's like way further than me. And I was like, oh, I need to pull that back out. And I was like sending her like brainwaves. I was like, bring yours too. And she did. And so we both pulled them out and I think we both got like 14 stitches in it. And then that was that. So last time I had next to nothing and this time I have a little bit more than next to nothing. But I did like a conversion, but you can see they're like little Furbies in Quaker style. So you'd think I'd remember all this stuff, and I can if I'm talking to somebody, but as soon as I have to like say it on camera, I'm like, I need to consult the notes. So this is 18 count Shadow Ada by Picture This Plus. Love this Ada, obsessed with this Ada. I'm using DMC, and they do have called for DMCs, but I decided that I hate myself. And I'm using the DMC Light Effects neons, which are a pain to work with, but the payoff is really cool. I probably should have just done this on straight up black for the full effect, but I just really love this like kind of chalkboard looking Ada so much. But yeah, we had like gotten dinner and all that, and then we came back to the hotel to stitch all together, and this is what I pulled out, but I was just chatting and chatting and chatting, so I didn't get much done. And then the last thing that I worked on was just kind of like something easy that I could bring because, like I said, we went to my brother's grad school graduation, which I live in Metro Detroit, and my brother lives, Michigan, right? So I live like over here on this side. My brother lives like over here. And so it's kind of a drive. But my parents, they live like right here. Okay? You with me? This is what we do in Michigan. We use our hands We use our hands to represent Michigan. So we drove boop, 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 to my parents and then hopped in their car, and then they drove us up to the graduation. So I was like, oh, I can stitch in the car. It'll be fine. No, I can't. I don't know how people do it. But I grabbed the Kanto badges by Srithri. I'm doing this on a 14 count white plastic canvas by DMC, and I'm just using DMC. Despite how small it is, it has like 10 bajillion different flosses. So I finished this badge. This one just needs a couple more colors, and I just kind of was like dinking around. I only got like 20 or 25, 250 stitches, but this one isn't even like on my smalls, it's like at the bottom of the list, so it's not like a priority. There's some floss, but I want to get these done and then whip stitch. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Whip stitch around the edges, maybe put some felt backing and pin backs on them so that I can use them as pins. I don't know, I just thought they were cute. This was, I'm pretty sure, like a free pattern from Srithri. So that was all of my whips. As far as other crafts go, the reason I wanted to film last Thursday was because I finished my Katamari scarf, my Japanese video game scarf by Katarina Kuntz, and it was a gift for my brother for his graduation / his birthday, which was in April. So I had fallen off my daily rows and really fell behind, and so Monday after I dropped Tara off at the airport to go back to Georgia, I was like, all right, like 6 straight hours of just knitting this scarf. I forced myself to finish it, and then I got it blocked on Monday so that it had enough time to dry. And I almost didn't block it because I was just like, it's just a scarf, who cares? Not a big deal. But I'm so glad I did because it really plushed up the yarn. It was really soft. It looked great. Like, not to toot my own horn, I just feel like it looked really good. And I gave that to him, and he loved it. He even texted me the next day and was like, it was one of the best gifts I've ever received. So I was like, thank you. I worked really hard on it. But yeah, I would like to do double knitting again, just not a scarf, because scarves are really long. And I don't like wearing scarves because I have 3 feet of hair that I have to wrangle with. So it's like if I put the scarf like this, then I feel like my hair is touching me, which I hate. But then if I like put the scarf and then I put my hair on the outside, I feel like I look like a Pippi Longstocking idiot. So scarves are not for me. I can just use my hair as a scarf, okay? So yeah. So then Tara and I decided to start the You Silly Goose socks by Stone Knits. I'll pop up a picture of what they look like, and we just wanted to like cast them on and get them started while we were at Stitch North. So we had 3 goose starts. I only finished the cuff on 1 because now we're into the color work and I just haven't had the mental energy or time to like sit down and invest the time. But you'll notice like the picture here, like they use like a gray and like a neon yellow for the cuff. I just didn't like the way it looked with that, so I'm just doing orange heel toe cuff, and it'll be fine. I can do whatever I want. Keep this in my little Gudetama bag. But yeah, I don't think they'll be that hard. I have only done the butter socks for colorwork socks, and the colorwork was only at like the ankles, so this is like the whole thing, so this will be a test. So I did size up the needles from the pattern because I know that I'm a very high tension knitter, and I just felt like I was going to need a little bit more wiggle room because I got big old feet. But yeah, that is what I've been knitting on, and I'm hoping maybe like Memorial Day I can kind of pick that back up because I'll have time then. So now we're into the fun part, which is the haul, and I'm pretty sure everything is from Stitch North. My goal going to Stitch North was stock up on fabric because I don't really have a ton of fabric. I tend to buy fabric as the project comes up, but then if I like want to start a project right now, I don't really have a interesting variety of fabrics to work with. So I was like, spend my money on fabric and then anything else is secondary. So I just got a pile. I'm just going to start showing you stuff. Some of it's table gifts, some of it's stuff I bought. I'll, you know, like indicate which is which. But I do need to start with the table gift from Erin and Amity. The Hathaway Stitchers was unhinged. It was insane. It was funny. We all are, you know, loving the Geese. And you guys, I'm sure, have seen that the porch goose has been all the rage. It's coming back. I actually got my grandma's. So I have like a cement one. It's in my house. It's wearing a Shrek outfit that Amity gave me last year at StitchCon. And I know Amity has a porch goose as well. But Erin and Amity got us all these porch geese, but they're mini. They're like 7 inches. And then everybody got like a different colored hoodie. Has a little chain and sunglasses. And then we all, because it's got a magnet there, so we all just sat with our porch geese at our table like this the entire time. And I'm obsessed with how like comically long the pulls for the hood are. It's like kind of insane. But this was one part of the table gift from Erin and Amity, and I'll show you guys the other part whenever I find it in this bag. But you can buy clothes on Etsy and Amazon for this dang goose, and I'm so excited to spend a really stupid amount of money on porch goose clothes. Next, I got a few bags. So first off, Michaela from Cinematic Stitches, she made us all, I think it's covered in cat hair. I have to vacuum this or my husband's going to, his head's going to explode. Maybe I'll just go touch him with it. But Michaela made us all these really nice big square bags, and she like quilted them and everything. And she had asked us beforehand, like, what's your guys' favorite soda? And then she made us all like a custom shrinky dink of our favorite soda, and used like soda like fabric on the outside, and then on the inside, oh, I love this fabric. It's pizza. It's so cute. And she was saying like she just felt like, you know, when she was younger, like getting together with all her friends and like having a sleepover and having like soda and pizza and stuff. And so that was kind of what she was emulating with this. And I was just like, oh, that's so sweet. And it's such a nice bag. It's a really big bag. Oh, there's stuff in there. There's something else in there. There's a sticker that says Canada Goof, which I love. And then we all got a different bookmark. Mine's a little boba guy, and he's drinking a boba, which is a little bit creepy, and I love that. And then Rebecca made bags as well for her table gift, and she's a bag maker, so she sells her bags at StitchCon, I believe, which is really cool. So she had just a big stack of them, and we passed them around, and we all got to pick, and I had to, you know, I had to do it to him with the Halloween one. This is really cute. But I was like obsessed with the ghosts on the back. And then, what's the inside fabric? Pink pumpkins. And it even has like a little like handle strap here. So this one's really fun. I don't have any bags that have like this kind of, what do you call it? Just like little extra zhuzh on it. So I thought that was really cool. It's a nice bag too. Big square bag. And then I actually bought 2 bags, which shocking because I never buy bags. Not that I don't like them. I love them. I just know that it's very easy to spend a lot of money on bags. So Sheba Designs was there, and I've heard so much about them. And so I just really wanted to get one of their bags. And I got this one, which is like kind of small, perfect for my purse to bring to work. So I've already been using it. I fell in love with this fabric. It's super cute. And then she's got like little zipper charms. One's a maple leaf, and then the other's like a paw print. And it just, it has like a snap closure. So I really, really like this bag. I need to remember to put it back in my bag. And then, so they got me. They really locked me in because they had a bunch of these bags with this like Sheba fabric, and you could buy it with, it has like a bunch of stuff in there. So there's like some sticky notes and stuff like that. But what really got me was there's an exclusive like Quaker design from the Quirky Quaker, which I can't show you, you know, forever because it's got just the pattern. It doesn't have the, like, chart like a mock-up. It had this little pouch that says put your shib in here. I guess there's some tea in there. I haven't even, like, fully looked through this. I just was like, they were like, exclusive Quirky Quaker design, and I was like, yes. There's a tiny modernist pattern in there called Playful Shebas. There was a hand-dyed by Rolanda. It's called Drama Queen. And then there was a couple of stickers, but this one says, if it's in my mouth, it's mine. And it's got like a dog with a cross stitch in his mouth. Oh, and there was a needle minder. I was like, I know there's one more thing. There's like a cute little wooden needle minder with a little Sheba on there. And so now I have 2 bags from Sheba Designs, and I'm all set. Because I know if I buy more, I'm going to bankrupt myself. So, Stitch North, they give you like a big swag bag. I got a bunch of stuff in here. The other part of the gift from Erin and Amity were, like, we all got these little Pyrex looking dishes to use as Ort jars. My Orts are still in there. And they did like a blind box style where like everyone was like, every box was, you know, indicated what color you might get, but you didn't know what the pattern was and stuff. And I picked yellow, and these are so cute. Like, how dare you? It's too precious. Chandria gave us all a Mill Hill kit. This one's little chickadee, just like a little, it's got like a magnet on it. I'll probably do the magnet version of this just because it's not Christmassy enough to be an ornament for me. But I love the Mill Hill kits are just really fun and quick and easy. As part of the swag bag, we got a couple of flosses. So this is the Spring 2026. It's called Swag, or Spring 2026 Swag from Roxy Floss Co. And then this one is called Black Bean, and this one's hand-dyed by Rolanda. So got a couple of good flosses there. Got a needle minder from Creatively Crafting, and it says Life is Short by the Fabric. Oh, here we go. This is what I want to talk about. So Tara made everybody, I got floss on everything, grime guards, and I've never used one. And I was always just kind of like, who needs that? Why? That's just another pointless accessory that they're trying to sell us on. No, I was so wrong. Because when I'm at work, like my work desk gets filthy because I pack a lot of like boxes. And it's like, no matter how much I wash my hands, I'm touching the desk. I wash the desk every week, and it's still like dirt everywhere. And it's getting on my projects, and I was getting really annoyed. And so Tara made everybody a grime guard for like their preferred hoop size. And I used this this past week at work, and it's so good. It's great for fabric management. It's just convenient. So, and I don't have to use like my magnet things that I use to hold the fabric together. So it takes some weight off of the hoop as well. So how did I live without that? I don't know, but I need 1,000 more. There was somebody who just had like cuts of fabric, and this one just had a bunch of colorful fish on it. It reminded me of my dad, so I bought that. We got some needle minders. So this one was the one from Stitch North. This is it was the official Retreat needle minder, and it is a really, really pretty bird. It's very glary, but it's huge. And then from Far Out Handmade, I got a few goose themed ones. So this one says Silly Goose Juice, and it is like a goose on a juice box. And then this one says Honk Honk, and he's like a goose in a little car. I had that car when I was a kid. And then this one's a worm in a cowboy hat, and it says, I'd be like, no worries, then worries. Isn't he precious? So I bought those 3. I did get, what's my name on it? Oh, just my first name. The Retreat Journal from Amity. I got it in green and like kind of just like a bunch of gross greens, which I love. And I'm so excited to use this for StitchCon. I will report back about how I used it. I bought a couple patterns, but I'm just going to highlight the one because Tara and I both bought this. I have never seen anything like this before. So this is Maximum Cross Stitch. It uses beads and a ton of specialty stitches, and it's just really, really cool. This is Queen Charlotte from like the Shondaland, you know, version of things. And so Tara and I, we bought the patterns, and then we bought the Roxy Floss Co. conversion, and I cut it in half. And there was only one where I needed to buy like a full skein, but we're going to stitch this together at some point. And the cool thing about the Roxy Floss conversion, like there are colors on here that there's 2 stitches, there's 26 stitches, there's 11 stitches. And they didn't put a full, like they didn't put those in the conversion because they're like 11 stitches, come on. Like, so they know like paying, you know, $4 a skein or whatever for 11 stitches, people are like going to be irritated. But like anything that had like over 100 stitches, it does have the Roxy Floss. So like the conversion was really reasonably priced. And so I'm excited to stitch this. It also has like 1/1 in the hair for that little goose, and like the hair is all French knots, I believe. I'm just excited because there's a lot of interesting specialty stitches in the dress, and I just think this will be an interesting and fun one to stitch. And the chart is massive. Like, I'm not saying like the like amount of stitches, I'm saying like the size of the stitches on the page are huge, so you'll be able to see it. So that was like the one chart that I bought. Well, I bought one more chart. I bought this chart too from Tiny Modernist because I have some big ornament plans next year, and I thought these were cute. And there's so much. There's too much, and I've got too much to do. And so I can't go through everything individually, but like there's tons of patterns and stuff like that. Those are like the big highlights. Oh, fabric. We do have to show off the fabric, right? So like I said, the main thing that I was like really seeking out was fabric. So the sewingshop.ca, I think is what they're called. They last year or the year before, whenever I went, they had like these packs of like ornament cuts or like just small cuts of miscellaneous fabrics. So I did pick up 2, like they sold out really fast. This is just like some gridded. I think I got both. Maybe I only got linen, or maybe I got linen and even weave. I'll have to really look at it, but just lots of like smaller cuts of interesting fabrics that I can use for ornaments and things of that nature. So I think all in all, I think it was like packs of 10 or something. And so I got 2 packs. Oh, this one's cool. But yeah, I've used up pretty much all of the ones that I bought before, so I was like, I better get some more. And then I also purchased a few fabrics. So this one is Bonfire. It's 28 count Lugana. It's a fat quarter. And I don't know what I'm going to stitch on it, but look at that. That is so cool. That's just like a really interesting fabric. Like her dyes are just like wackier. They're kind of out there. So I'm really, really interested in always seeing what she has. Then I got, this one's called Grease Monkey, and it's a 30 count even weave. This one's kind of thick, but I just really like that color scheme. I felt like that would be good for something kind of spooky Halloween-y. And then I don't remember buying this, but it's 15 count Aida called Biometric. Oh, this is a weird cut, but really cool looking. So I got those 3 from the sewing shop. And then from Evertote, I was like coordinating the fabrics on accident. So Tara and I both saw this Gordon Lightfoot, but it's spelled like gourd, like a pumpkin, and it's beautiful. So I got 36 count linens in all of these, and I just got fat quarters. I got that. I got, this one is called Temptation, which it looks like Barney on the camera, but it is such a like grape gummy kind of color in real life. It's not picking up correctly at all. It's a really good color though. And then I got Terrarium, which is just this really, really pretty green. And those were the 3 that I got from Evertote. And then I got 2 from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. So neither of these have, oh no, this one doesn't have a name. This is like a one of a kind, I think she said. It's a 36 count linen. Oh my God. Like, are you kidding me? What am I going to stitch on that? Who cares? It's stunning. It's just such a good, I don't have like any good like purple fabrics. It's reading so neon blue on camera, but it's, I swear to God, dude, it's purple. And then the pièce de résistance. Who knows if this is going to show up correctly on camera, but I'm so excited for this. This is a 32 count Lugana, and it's an opalescent. It's called Margarita. Yeah, it does not show up on camera correctly. It is vibrant and it is sparkly, and I cannot wait to do some funky colors with this. Maybe I could find a Jed X stitch that would look really good on that one. And then some interesting green was found upon the freebie table and dispersed, and I feel like this would be good for some ornaments. And then Erin just gave me some random cuts of fabric that she had, and because I love small cuts. And so like this is an opalescent that looks really cool. This is like a really light pink that looks white on camera. This one's cool. But yeah, so just a bunch of like ornament type cuts. So I'm gonna do just a quick little recap of Stitch North. And by recap, I'm going to tell you like 2 brief stories because everybody else's recaps are really good. So I picked up Tara from the Detroit airport, and then we drove over to Brampton together. But beforehand, we had stopped at a diner because Tara was like, I need to eat or I will die, because she had like pounded a giant Dunkin' coffee before she got on the plane. And so we stopped at this diner, and as we're getting our cards out to pay, like she like pulls her wallet out, and this bobbin of 310 just like flies onto the table, and she was like, you know, I always keep that thing on me. I was like, why do you just have 310 in your purse? That's insane. When we got in, we picked up Michaela at the airport, and by we I mean Erin drove, because I'm not driving in Brampton. They're bad drivers in Brampton. Like everybody's driving like crazy. People almost changed lanes into us like 4 separate times. But so we picked her up, and then we went to Gita's cross stitch store. And the floss wall, I wish I had taken a picture of this. I can't believe I didn't. It was like triple layered, and you could slide the layers back and forth. There was so much floss. It was so much fun in there. I did get a couple of patterns there, but this video is already too long. So, and then we all finished our pansy patch houses for the most part. And so then we took another picture with the designer, because like the first time we went, we took a picture of our starts with her, and that's actually her profile picture on Instagram. And so now we have our finished picture with her. So that was fun. And then just the last little fun thing is I love apparently trying to get myself detained at the Canadian border, because once again, I'm surprised Tara did not blast me in her video today or the other day. But yeah, so going into Canada, I didn't have any problems. This time I memorized where we were going, and because once I put it in the GPS, it's out of my head. So like last time I was like, I don't know where we're going, but this time it was coming back. The woman was like asking, I drive a truck. I drive a big old truck. It was my dad's, and she asked me, you know, do you have anything in the bed of the truck? And Rob and I had just bought a bunch of soil to repot some plants. And I don't know why I did this. I was just like, I was going to say, if there is anything in the bed of the truck, then it's just soil. But then halfway through me saying that, I realized 1, soil had already been removed because I already repotted those plants. 2, bringing soil across the border is a big no-no. Like you can't bring organic material back and forth like that. So I was just like, so instead I said, if there is, I wouldn't know anything about it. Like, is there anything in the bed of your truck? If there is, I wouldn't know anything about it. Like, I sounded like a freaking human trafficker. I was like, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was just like, God, why? She's like, well, I'm going to open it either way. And I was like, please do, because there's nothing there. Oh, and then as we pulled away, Tara was just like, you really want us to get this? She immediately texted the group chat and was like, despite Hillary's best efforts, we did not get detained at the border. And I was like, listen, I have traveled abroad so much. I've lived abroad. Like, never once have I had issue with customs except when I go in and out of Canada. I don't know what it is. I panic at Canada for some reason. So, I don't know. But we had a blast. I lost my voice. I lost all my money on beautiful fabrics. And I can't wait to see my friends again at StitchCon Weekend A. But that leads me into plans. So after next week, I will be back to my regularly scheduled programming of assigned days to my small, medium, large projects. I'm just traveling so much. It's just not conducive to the setup that I have. I wrote down that the week of the 25th is the first full week I'm going to be home. So I will be pulling out my next large project, which is Nostalgic Tarot by the Witchy Stitcher. And I will be working on the cards now. And then this weekend we're heading out to Las Vegas to see my in-laws, and they live literally 15 minutes up the road from Stitcher's Paradise. So I'm going to make the pilgrimage. Hopefully I can keep my head on straight enough to take some photos and videos and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, I have one more plan. So at my wedding, Tara met my in-laws, and my father-in-law was like, how do you know Hillary? And she was like, yeah, we met on like Flosstube. And then he was like, what is that? And she explained it. And then she showed him my Instagram, and he was like, I didn't know you did this. And he was like mad that I never told him. And I was just like, I didn't think you cared. Most people don't. Most people don't even know what it is. But now he's been harassing me nonstop because he wants me to make him something. And I don't know what he likes. Like, he just hangs out in Las Vegas and drinks alcohol and does his job. He loves his job. But then I had this like great idea. I was like, this man loves alcohol. And I have this pattern by Ink Circles called 5 o'clock, which is a clock, and it's got a drink at every hour. I think this is something that he would find kitschy and funny. And so I think I'm going to stitch this for him. This is not an immediate plan, but maybe while I'm in Las Vegas, I might find a fabric for it. Not that I didn't just buy a million fabrics, but I don't have a fabric that looks like this. So it's like a light gray. It's a 30 count. It's such a weird count. I don't know, but that's knocking around up there. That might be what I stitch for him, and then I could make the clock. I think that would be kind of fun. Because I love the Ink Circles patterns that are like this. And I love that you get to turn it into a clock. And I want to stitch this, but I also just don't really drink that much. So I'm like, I don't want to be a poser. You know, I don't want to have the alcoholic clock in my home and have like the most puritanical drinking habits. So I can stitch it, and then I can see it at his place. So that's kind of my plan. And then I guess we'll do reading, watching, playing since I'm already here. I read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and it was very, very prosy and kind of difficult for me to lock into. It was great, well written, but it's just like, if you're not a big prose type of person, you will not like this book. But it was short, so it was fine. I try to read as much as I can from Asian diaspora because, I don't know, I just do. That's my thing, I guess. And then I was going to read a different book, Blood Meridian, because I loved The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and I have heard great things about Blood Meridian, but I've heard it's different than his other works. So I downloaded the audiobook, but then I waited way too long to start it, and then I didn't listen to it. So I'm back on the waiting list. And then as far as watching goes, I finally got my husband to start watching Boardwalk Empire again. We got halfway through season 5, but then while I was at Stitch North, he rewatched the entire 3 first seasons. Like, Tara and I walked in to my apartment and he was watching Boardwalk Empire. And now he's burned himself out on it. So now I'm stuck halfway through the last season. I just want to finish this series. I want to finish any series. He doesn't like endings. And then Tara showed me Letterkenny, which is really funny. It takes place in Canada, and it's just like, kind of like Hicktown, and it reminds me of where I grew up. So I need to figure out where I can continue to watch that, because we watched a couple episodes and it was really good. And that's all I got. I'm hungry. So I should be back in 2 weeks because I won't be traveling after this weekend. And hopefully I will have some progress on some things. I will. I always do. So yeah, really don't know where I was going with that. So that's the end of the video. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.